If you can get to the place with God where you are constantly letting go of the things that you're attached to, where you're constantly making those decisions, cutting things off that are bad for you, that are toxic, that are leading you to sin, if you're making those decisions and cutting those off, and then for the rest of the things that may not be like sinful, maybe you're not cutting them out of your life forever, but if you just take them and hand them to God, try to get in the habit of doing that every day, as much as you think about it, hand everything in your life to God. Here's what I think you'll find. The first thing is you'll find a spirit of kind of poverty almost. Because you'll be in this spirit of like, man, I have nothing. Like nothing is really mine. Everything I have is a gift, right? We're stewards, which means we're just taking care of the things that God gives us, but they're not actually ours. And so you'll find this amazing spirit of poverty. We're like, oh, actually, I'm not as rich as I thought I was. I'm not as comfortable as I thought I was. Actually, really, at the end of the day, none of this is mine because everything that comes in can go back out because I have open hands to receive what God wants to give me, but open hands to give it back to him if that's what he wants. But that spirit of poverty will actually transition to a spirit of actual abundance where you realize, oh man, if my hands are always open to give, then that means my hands are always also open to receive, which means there's no limit to what God could give you. If your hands are open, okay, it means, yeah, you can give. You can give everything God gave you, but you can also keep receiving from the craziest, most abundant source of all time. And here's what I think that might do for you. And I want to give you this something maybe to pray with tonight, maybe during this, leading up to this Christmas season. Here's what that might do for you. The first thing is you'll recognize how much you have. Because when that spirit of poverty of like, man, nothing's really mine, everything is God's, that'll transition, like I said, to a spirit of abundance where you go, actually, man, but like if God is the giver of all good gifts and he's my father and I'm his beloved child, then he's just not afraid to give me everything I could ever need and more. And my hands are going to be open to receive it. And that realization is going to make you grateful. Here's how this works. You're going to have gratitude in your life. You're going to actually be grateful. You'll feel less entitled to the things you have. And instead you'll feel blessed by them. You'll go, wow, I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed to have these things in my life because God is the giver of every good and perfect gift. So everything I have is from him. But that gratitude doesn't just stop there because gratitude gives way to generosity. Because when you know how richly you're blessed, you'll want to share it. I was in Haiti on a mission trip, and we were visiting a couple of families in these tiny little huts. And normally on these kind of trips, a lot of times you're not supposed to give them food, but we had a special relationship with this one family we were visiting, so they're like, hey, you can give them any food if you have it. So we get into their little house. The mother's telling us, yeah, we had a little bit of rice this morning. Yesterday there was some fruit brought by, but that was it. The day before that we had a meal, but the day before that we didn't have anything. Like she's explaining like what their food life is like, And they don't eat a lot is the point. And this little kid comes up to me and I take a granola bar out of my bag. It was a good one. It was one of the Lara bars. He takes it and he just stares at it. It was the almond butter chocolate chip one. It's my favorite. I gave it to him. He's just like staring there. He doesn't really know what it is, but I think he kind of does know what it is. And then he tries to like start ripping it in half. And I kind of freaked out for a second because I'm like, maybe he doesn't know what it is, but I don't want him to destroy it because it's the only thing I have to give him, And so I don't want him to like rip it up into a bunch of crumbs. And so the only thing I can think to do is try to take it back from him, which is then also super awkward because now there's people taking pictures of me ripping food out of a child's hand in Haiti. So it's like an international incident, But I'm trying to rip the bar, so I finally get it back from him. I'm like, what's your deal? And like those kids do a lot of manual labor. So he's like 6, but he's pretty ripped, you know what I mean? So it took a lot to get it back from him. So I'm like, okay, that was weird. So I try to like slowly hand it to him again. I'm like, I'm just gonna let it play out. He looks at it again, same thing. He just tears into it. This time, finally, he rips it in half. Now there's 2 like little jagged edges of a Lara bar with like little almond shards like sticking out of each side. And he's just staring at me like this. And I'm like, I have no idea where this is going. And then he stands back and he calls out something in Creole and his brother comes running from around the house. His brother runs up to him, and he hands half of the granola bar to his brother. See, I don't know about you. If I hadn't eaten that day, and if I genuinely didn't know when my next meal was going to be, I wouldn't have shared it. But this kid was so grateful for what he had that gratitude transitioned into generosity. And he wanted to share from the abundance that he had. And this is the invitation for us. Because I think if we can focus on all this, then we'll get better at loving the people in our lives who maybe seem lost or forgotten about, or the people who are broken. Here's how it'll work. From that spirit of poverty, we'll go, man, I've been there. I've been lost. I've been broken. I've been forgotten about. And we'll relate to them. But then from that spirit of abundance and that spirit of generosity, we'll go, but you know what? God told me everything I have is his. Remember from the story of the prodigal son? The father says, son, everything I have is yours. And we can go, man, if everything God has is mine, then everything I have can be yours. That's how we're going to love the people in our lives. That's how we're going to unify ourselves to them. It's not by just summoning the willpower on our own to be amazing Christians. No. It starts by being united with God, recognizing that everything we have is a gift, and then letting that move us to be generous with what we have.